Hello and welcome. And I'm happy you're here with me. It's another Mars Day. Mars Day meetups are just a time where I come here live on Zoom. It's Patreon only for anyone that is available live to pop in, ask your questions, talk about the astrology of the week ahead, generally hang out and just have a space. They are recorded for you to watch as much as you would like, or to reference, or to use in any way that feels safe, comfortable, and organic for you. So I'm happy to be here with you, whether you're live or here on the replay. Thank you so much for being here, for supporting the space. And please, as always, feel free to chime in into the chat or on mic. If you have questions, comments, if you're here in the replay, pop out and put your stuff into the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to answer your questions. So yay. Okay, so today we have a lot to go through. We're going to talk about the week ahead astrology. Obviously, we have a full moon this week, so we're going to look at that chart. And we're also going to go into the overview for June. So a lot of stuff, and then the tarot at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and just get right into it. Setting the intention for the space. Full moon in Sag, happening over the weekend, right before Venus moves into Leo. There's a lot happening in the cosmos now, for sure. A lot of people are feeling last weekend's Sun-Saturn square, which was pretty rough. So this week is interesting because we're in this place astrologically where we're out of eclipse season and Mercury retrograde is coming out of shadow this week. So we're not as topsy-turvy as we felt a couple of weeks ago. But there's still stuff that we're dealing with. There's still things that now we're having to navigate in new ways, or having new perspectives around. So this week really offers us a lot of space for breakthroughs, for getting out of old patterns, old stuckness, right? So a lot of the stuff we've been talking about for the last few years in fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, are in what places in our lives are we feeling stuck? And that got activated again last week and the week before with the T-squares happening with Pluto and Jupiter and Mars. And now they're going to get reignited over the next couple of weeks with Venus coming through to give a little bit of nourishment. But before that, we have this week where we have Jupiter doing some really interesting things to bring us a little bit of hope for the future, a little bit of relief and support to our goals and to our destiny, because the North Node is involved. We're finding things coming to an end, coming to completion, or a phase or a cycle of something coming to endings and things. This week, we're building towards this Sagittarius full moon that happens at the end over the weekend. It happens on Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. And so we feel that kind of, with any full moon, we feel the energy building in the collective as the week comes. And then the full moon is this culmination point. It's this peak moment where things may come to an end, or there may be a fullness or a culmination of something. There may be something illuminated at the full moon. And then also we can also recognize where it is that we can let things go, where things have run their cycle. And then we start into the releasing phase as the moon gets darker over the next 2 weeks and we lead into the new moon. So this week, as we have the full moon happening over the weekend, this week we feel the energy building, right? And it's happening in Sagittarius. This is asking us to broaden our perspective, to step into a new journey, a new adventure, a new reality. And a lot of people have had things shifting, especially with eclipse season happening. And so there's a lot of transition still happening, but we're coming into June, which is a month that is astrologically quiet compared to the last couple months. And what I mean by that is, it doesn't mean that nothing's happening. It means we're dealing with a lot of the stuff that maybe has happened over the last few months or over the last year even. And, the next couple weeks offer us different places to kind of settle into the new reality in a new way. So that's really what we're feeling this week. There's a lot of opportunity for breakthrough. There's a lot of opportunity for seeing something with a new perspective, a new set of eyes, new clarity, as we move through the astrology of this week. So that's the overview. We're going to break it down day by day here in just a little bit. But I wanted to take again just a moment for any questions, comments, concerns, live or on the replay before we get into the charts. And then we'll do the day by day, the full moon chart, and then pop out and do the June. Hey, if you're liking the vibe so far and you want to come hang out on my Patreon, please do so. We're just going to be talking about the Sagittarius full moon for the rest of this video. But if you want to see the rest of it, get exclusive access weekly to talk about the astrology, pull tarot, ask your questions, and generally hang out, please come find me at patreon.com/mmhealing. I would love to see you there. And it's late in the East Coast and early morning in other parts of the world. So we're feeling the full moon on the 3rd. We're feeling it on the 4th as well. And we'll go ahead and pull up that exact moon chart. Okay, so here it is at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. The sun is directly opposite. That's what makes the full moon at 13 degrees of Gemini. And then, so it happens at 11:41 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday the 3rd. And that's really, the sun and moon aren't being directly aspected by anything else. So they're kind of in a conversation of their own. But we can't deny this big red line happening. We can feel by this point, by the weekend, we can feel the undercurrents of Venus coming into that anaretic degree. It's at the 28th degree of Cancer here, meaning the following day it'll be at 29 degrees of Cancer, which is the anaretic degree. So we're feeling that, and it's pulling into this opposition to Pluto, which has been a hot point for the last few weeks. So there's this under kind of current of stuff playing out. So even where there's, a lot of hope and a lot of fun and excitement that may be occurring, there's also this bubbling happening under the surface with Venus and Pluto that many of us will be feeling either here or on the days following as Venus continues to move into that opposition. But it's coming out of the trine to Neptune and into this opposition, and we're feeling that under the full moon as well. And then, when we think about this full moon, and I'll post about this more before we get there, but I just wanted to note, you're finding the Sagittarius Gemini axis in your chart, right? Full moons are a time of illumination. They're a time of tension, right? Sometimes emotional tension. Remember, the full moons, anytime we have a moon lunation, the moons are tied directly to our emotions, our internal world. And so when we have a full moon building, it's a tension of our emotions. When the sun and the moon are opposite in the sky, the moon is being pulled, right? The sun's energy is pulling the moon's energy. And so there's this tension happening between them, which is why sometimes it's a breaking point, right? Full moons can be, that pressure cooker moment where we've been holding, and then there's some release of some kind at the full moon, right? So it can be very high energy to a quick down, right? There can be this up and down emotional wave. There can be illumination of some kind, expansion of some kind, right? It's happening in Sagittarius. So maybe we're broadening our perspective. We're finding hope. We're seeing things in a new way. Maybe there's a fullness or a completion that we're feeling, or even an overwhelm or a burnout that we're feeling under this moon, right? It's all going to depend on where it's hitting in your chart and your lived experience. So we're feeling this, right? Specifically, if you have things that are being activated by this 13-degree mutable axis, because otherwise you might just be feeling this stuff, right? This opposition happening. If you're early degree fixed, then you're getting nailed by this fixed sign stuff that we've been feeling, and you might not be feeling the Sagittarius Gemini stuff at all. You might have to look for it, which is the other reason why we talk about all the different things playing out. Because if you're feeling this square and it's overwhelming and it's it's taking over all of your energy and all of your mental space. Maybe there's an opportunity or an invitation at some point to shift and make space to see what maybe is being illuminated then in your Sag house of your chart. Like what opportunity is being illuminated, or where can we let something end in Sagittarius to make space, right? Or support what is ending, in your fixed sign stuff, right? So there's other ways that we can tap into energy specifically that we might not be feeling like right in the face, but could be helpful to layer on or to shift our movement. Sagittarius, this full moon, Sagittarius is mutable fire. So it's always an invitation for me to incorporate any kind of movement. And that doesn't mean anything specifically, right? Like movement to me sometimes is just rolling my shoulders, just giving, my shoulders a little bit of space. Sometimes movement for me is just my hands. So sometimes movement for me is taking a walk. Sometimes movement for other people is kickboxing. Sometimes movement for people is riding a roller coaster or driving their car or stretching on the floor, or, there are so many different ways, but Sagittarius energy itself is movement. It's fire, which is moving. It's passion, it's intimacy, it's action and assertiveness, it's creativity, and it's mutable. And mutable energy is changeable, it's movable. And so under this full moon, it might be helpful to stretch a little bit, to incorporate some kind of movement, whatever that looks like for you. Sometimes movement for me looks like drinking more water so that my joints can have a little bit of lubrication. So again, let it be organic for you. I know that, let it be organic for you because everybody moves differently. Okay, so there's a lot more that we can go into with this, but the one thing that I wrote down here is allowing under this moon, right? Full moons are a time where the sky is bright and we can see things that sometimes we wouldn't before, right? That's where the illumination piece comes in with the full moon. So under this moon, I'm hoping to illuminate the places where I forget or I can't tap into the reality that the journey in and of itself of life is the magic, right? For me, that's something that I want to start incorporating under this full moon a little bit more. Just the reminder that this journey of life itself is the magic. That's very Sagittarius, very Jupiterian. And I'm allowing that to kind of sit with me this week. Take it or leave it in your own experience, but I just wanted to kind of give a little space of where I am and one of the things that I'm incorporating, right? Just that awareness that this is the magic, right? And when I stir my tea in the morning, I stir it a certain way to incorporate my magic, right? It's the mundane things in life. It's the daily stuff that we do on this earth that is the magic of just being here. And so I'm hoping to give a little bit of that Jupiterian buoyancy to my life under this moon a little bit. But okay, so that is Saturday's full moon. Jupiter conjunct the North Node at 3 degrees of Taurus is happening exact on Thursday, which leads into Venus's day on Friday, where we have that Venus trine to Neptune. And then Saturday, we have the Sagittarius full moon. And then Sunday, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus at 20 degrees of Taurus. And then Monday, we have Venus into Leo. So these first couple days this week, it's moon stuff, right? So could be a little emo on Wednesday, leading up to all of this stuff. And all of this stuff is leading us up to that culmination, Sagittarius full moon that we get over the weekend. So I think there's a lot of supportive energy to get out of some of the ruts or some of the stuckness that people or the collective has been feeling, some of the heaviness that we've been feeling. It gets heavier first with the Scorpio moon, but then it lightens up with the Sagittarius moon, and we get a little bit of hope. We get a little perspective as we move into the following week. And then Venus moves into Leo and says, okay, I'm ready to get things done. I've felt it out in Cancer. I know what's important for me. I know what my desires are. I know who I care about and who I want to stand up for. And now I'm in Leo and I have the energy to move through and make some new things happen. So, you know, I had mentioned before, this month, June, is not as much, you know, in March, we had all of those planets. We had Saturn and Pluto and Mars all switching signs. And then we came into eclipse season, and then we had retrogrades. And so there was a lot that was happening in March and April and May astrologically. And in June, like I said, it's kind of a month of calibration and shifting and recognizing, like, wow, all of this stuff has changed. And now I get to reshift or resettle with this new awareness, whether it's physical changes, emotional changes, mental changes, new awarenesses, etc. June offers us some space to or to navigate how to move through it in new ways. This month is a brief break between the Venus retrograde and the United States Pluto return that happens over the summer. And so, yeah, I like June as far as just kind of a month to do this. Can you see me? I'm resettling. Okay. We'll get into it weekly, right here every week on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. And that's what I got for you. Four of Swords is the card of the week. Got a lot going on. It's a full moon, so keep in mind that with full moons, sometimes there's an amplification of our energy. We feel very energized, and then we can hit a burnout. You know, all of that stuff. It's a full moon, and so there's going to be a down that happens following the weekend as well. So, but otherwise, a lot of space for breakthroughs and settling in to shifts and things as we move through the week. So, all right, that's all I have for you, my friends. Feel free to check in anytime, anywhere. I love to hear from you. Thank you for being here. We will chat very soon.